What's happening, everyone? Welcome to GBALL VISION. I hope you are having a phenomenal day today. In this video, we will be discussing on if the EDC Relative is worth picking up this weekend. There is a drop 6:10 on EDC's website at noon Eastern. He's dropping the clip point, drop point, LMAX versions. There will be Mokume hardware kits and different patterns, different versions of the knife available this Saturday. And to really dive into if this knife is worth buying, I would like to just kind of go over things a little bit, and then that way we can really come to an honest decision. So, with this one in particular, there will not be any Magna Cut versions, which this one is the Magna Cut version, which that's all right because he's doing LMAX and I believe 20 CV. Definitely LMAX, and I think there might be some 20 CV as well. This one is number 002 out of the Magna Cut run, and it is the first and only run of the Magna Cut versions. And this one in particular has a dual ground clip point Tanto blade. You have a flat here going up to the tip. Nice thick swedge here going to that tip. It makes that tip ultra tough. You have a nice little bit of belly here. This is a Tanto, so you have that second point here, and then you have a nice straight edge. The machine satin on this is absolutely beautiful. This machine satin, I think, is just as good looking as some hand satins that I've seen. This version has the DLC coated titanium handles, the brass accented hardware. So you'll have your pivot, the collar, your screws, pocket clip, and backspacer, all with the brass accents. Now, I think he did a version like this in LMAX, so you will be able to pick up this version or color scheme in LMAX if you wish. And then he's probably doing an all black. He's probably doing an all stone washed or all satin version. And then there might be one other version as well. I think the Damasteel versions will be coming later. The action is phenomenal on this knife, just like all the EDC knives. This is a Bestech OEM. You do have a hollow ground blade here, which is just so slicey, guys. It's unbelievable how thin this comes down. You have nice jimping the whole spine of the blade, which is going to allow you a lot of control over this guy. 50-50 choil, which use it or don't. There's times where I don't use it, and then there's times where I do. So it feels like, and I've said this about several of John's designs, they feel like they were made for my hands because they literally, even the smaller OG Nimble fits in my hand just perfectly. Even having bigger hands, it is a little smaller of a knife, but for a secondary knife or like a fifth pocket knife, it fits in my hand just beautifully. And then these bigger ones like the Nimble X, the Relative, they just fit perfectly in my hand. And I love the ergonomics of this knife. I love the slicing capability of this knife. The aesthetic is, if you don't like this aesthetic, you need to get the hell out of here. The action is on point. It's just such a well-rounded knife. You can tell that through all the trials and errors and successes that he has had with the Nimbles and all the different versions of the Nimbles leading up to this knife, it is so refined, so perfect that I don't know that there's anything on this knife that I would change even a little bit. There's nothing on this knife that I could see needing changed or altered, any of it. He gives you a nice amount of access to that lock bar there, puts a beautiful chamfer on the lock bar, easy to disengage, and then it has that hydraulic drop shut action. There's no skiffs, nothing in this. It's original stock bearings, and I don't know that this needs any aftermarket bearings. It is ridiculously good. The opening action, the closing action. I love being able to thumb flick this guy out. You can do all the front flipper things that you can want to do with the front flipper. The design of the front flipper is absolutely perfect for a front flipper. I like doing that as well, kind of just holding it in one hand and flicking it out with the other. The reach around can be done if you stay off the lock bar here. I don't typically do that, but sometimes, once in a while. So after talking about this knife and going over some of the specs, everything on the knives that are dropping tomorrow are going to be identical, with the exception of LMAX steel, and then you can also get a drop point version, which is going to be similar or reminiscent of like the Nimble X, the latest version of the Nimble X. It's going to have a nice drop point blade. They're going to be very useful. If I didn't have this one and I was picking one up this weekend, this is the version that I would get. The blade is, in my opinion, it's multifunctional, multi-useful. You have a nice straight edge here. You have some belly here. And then you got an awesome piercing tip here. So, I mean, there's tons of capability in just this one pocket knife. You got strength up here, slicing all day because of that hollow grind and that straight edge. Just a crazy good design of a blade, and it's very unique in my opinion. You don't see a blade shape quite like this very often. There's one that kind of reminds me of this, and that is the Arcane Designs Abyss, which I have right here. But you can see that they are different, you know, in their own rights, but they're similar. You know, you have a straight edge, you have that little point here going into a nice little belly here, and then you got a nice pokey tip here as well. But this blade is going to be taller on your Relative. It's going to be slicier. It's going to be better, in my opinion. The ergonomics of this knife, the Relative, are better. It's aesthetically better looking. All the way around, I think it's better. The only thing the Abyss has possibly on it is it's a little bit more unique because of the lines and the handle. But, you know, that's not why I'm in the knife collection business, is not to just get unique knives. Now, I do love this knife, and it's proven itself a very worthy EDC and work knife. This one, I really baby it as far as when I use it, where I carry it, all that sort of thing. I'm not a dumbass, totally at least. You know, having number 002 of the only Magna Cut run, I'm going to baby the shit out of this. Not to mention I have, you know, several other EMP EDC knives. So I did bring out the Nimble X version 2 just to kind of give you an idea of what the blade shape will look similar to if you were to get the drop point Relative. It's going to be close to this blade shape. So how can we do this? So it'll look very similar to that. Pretty close. You know, you're going to have the front flipper. and not the rear flipper. I love both of these knives. I think they are similar in their aesthetic, but they are crazy different in the way that the blade can be used. I just think the Relative is so functional as far as its blade shape. Your ergonomics are going to be very similar between the two. Now, the Relative, I think, has that little bit better of a choke up spot. Now, this was redesigned so that you can get a nice choke up spot here as well. But there's something about the Relative that I just I can't put my finger on it. I love the design. You get some extra jimping on the Relative. It's just, it's a different knife. And if you were to look at these, you would think this is the same design, you know, but they're just different blade shapes. But when you really get these in hand and carry them, use them, they're different. I love the Nimble X version 2. I love the copper accents opposed to the brass accents. You know, and I like having the rear flipper tab as well. But there are times when I just don't want a rear flipper, don't need it. I'd rather have a hole and a front flipper. And that's when I picked this guy up, which is an awful lot. I can say, though, that QSP nailed these version 2s, and they are literally neck and neck with Best Tech on their build quality. They can do a damn good job when they really want to. The Nimble X version 2s are just absolutely amazing. But if you ask me, and it's because, you know, I have all of John's designs, so it might be different for someone else, but out of all the EMP knives that I have, this is probably the one that I would have to pick up if I didn't have any of them. You know, if I didn't have a single EMP, this is the knife that I would get right here. Now, that's a bold statement coming from me because I love the OG Nimble, the Nimble T, the W. I love the original Nimble X. I love the version 2 Nimble X. I love the Thick Boy. I love all of them. But if push came to shove, or let's just say if I had to get rid of all of them but keep one, this is probably the one that I would keep right here. The MagnaCut Relative, or just the Relative in general. It's so well built, so well tuned. The aesthetic is absolutely off the charts. You just don't see many knives that look this beautiful. It's a work of art on an amazing tool. You know, and that's what this is first and foremost. Yeah, John designs fidgety knives, very good looking knives, very comfortable knives. But at the end of the day, he also designs a knife that is a great cutter, a great piercer. It does what it's supposed to do, and they're all great sizes. You know, he has some smaller knives, he has some more mid-sized knives, and then he's got some bigger knives like these guys here. So, if you thought I would go any other direction other than to say you're nuts if you don't pick one of these up, then you're nuts. Because if you have the funds to pick up a Relative tomorrow, you definitely should be picking one up. Whether that's the clip point or the drop point variant, I believe that they will probably go very quickly. And I mean very quickly. It could be within a few minutes, but they'll be gone before Saturday is over, no question about it. they might be gone within 5 to 10 minutes is what I'm guessing. I don't know how many he has. That's also going to play a role in this, how many he ended up getting. But I think, now this might be a full drop, so there might be quite a few of them. But even if this is a full drop, I think once people realize, oh, it's noon Eastern, you know, or it's afternoon, people are going to buy these up and they're going to go quick. So if you like the look of this knife, I would wholeheartedly tell you to pick one of these up. I don't do this very often when I say this is like a must buy or you should be getting this knife. This is something that you should be picking up if you're collecting knives, if you're into knives, if you want a high quality knife that's well built, well tuned. You're supporting a American dude, an American family, American designer, an American company. Yeah, they are made overseas, but that is what it is. I don't really want to hear anything about where they're made. John is an American dude. He has an American company. He's a great dude. You know, he's got a family that all support him, you know, and he just does an exceptional job at being creative and also pushing things to the limit, you know, pushing things to their boundary. I think the greatest thing he ever did was start to make knives based off his original design. You know, he made different blade shapes and he tweaked some things, and then he made a bigger one, you know, the Nimble X version 1. Then he started tweaking with other designs completely. Then he came up with, you know, he came up with the thick boys early on also. But then he came out with the Relatives and the Ronins, which I'm going to be picking up a Ronin whenever they drop. I didn't get in on the pre-order, just wasn't my time, but I will definitely, no question, be picking up a Ronin, no doubt about it. But to answer the question, should you get a Relative tomorrow? Yes. I don't know if and when they'll even be back in stock. It might be another year from now until you see these again, if ever. You know, this exact design and layout. The next time these come around, it might be a different, you know, a different animal. So definitely one to go ahead and snag tomorrow if you can hack it. He does 4 pays on his website. So, you know, you're talking about breaking that payment up into 4 different every 2-week payments. So that really helps out as well. So if you can hack the, I don't know what it would be, like 80 bucks, 85 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood, every 2 weeks, definitely go get yourself an EMP EDC Relative. Definitely, probably my favorite EMP knife yet. If not, it's damn close. These two are definitely up there, and the Sagaha Nimble, the Nimble W, the OG Nimble, the Nimble T. Yeah, they're all my favorite. But this is, you know, 1A type of a deal. So definitely go pick one up. Go support John. He's an awesome dude. And that's about it, guys. Go pick up a Relative tomorrow, noon Eastern. They drop. I bet they're going to go quick. That'll do it for this one, guys. If you are interested in checking out some more content, you can click here or here. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can click here on the GBALL logo. It's very easy. It's very free. You know what I'm saying? Hit the thumbs up. Leave me a comment. do all them damn things. Catch you later.